breaks your news like an old man. He's got you thinking about your death and you are frightened.
Guys, to everyone, I'm Ada from PoisonedRock, and today we have the really this time huge honor to have with us Attila, known mostly for his vocal skills, his career, and his role in as a singer in Mayhem. Okay, first of all, Attila, I want to start just with a short introduction of you and Mayhem and the current lineup.
Yeah, hello, Bloods. Good to be here online, and thanks for the interview and the request.
Pleasure.
Yeah, well, Mayhem's current lineup now, of course, it's Necro, Necro Butcher, bass player, is the oldest member. Then Hellhammer, Jan Axel, who is the second oldest, and I'm the third oldest. And then we have Telok, Morten, and Charles Hedger, alias Gull, and that's our lineup right now. We have two guitar players, and it's fucking great.
That's great. And I mean, what has changed in Mayhem since you joined the band till today?
Well, the basic philosophy is the same, I guess. So the main idea and the bloodline is the same, but a lot of things change with the time. And the members change, obviously, had to be changed because we went through so much chaos, especially back in the days. Other than that, I think it's still the same band, it's still the same logo, it's still the same trademark, same philosophy, basically.
This is what matters.
Yeah, so the rest is the same.
So yes, and your last work with Mayhem, Demon, sounds like, what can I say, a comeback to the glorious De Mysteris Dum Satanas. It is a return to the old time work.
Yeah, that's right. We just wanted to do something different again, and something new, which in Mayhem's case meant like do something different from the albums compared before. Which were really, really ahead and contemporary records, So we wanted to go back now, and we thought it's time to go back a little bit in time to the 90s feelings, early 90s, like how we were then, how were those emotions, and a bit more like the unity when everybody is more involved in the band and the recording and the composition. So that's right. We went a little bit back in time in that sense. However, I think the music is still new and fresh. So it's just took the basic ideas and the philosophy.
Yes, it's just the idea of coming back, but the composing and the lyrics maybe are the new. It's the new, like the evolution. Of course. Through all these years.
It's like today presented, that old spirit presented today. Yeah.
Of course. You've been in the glorious era of the black metal. We can say the legendary true Norwegian black metal. What about that period?
Well, I don't know. I started to play in '85, and my first show was in '86 with Tormentor, with my first band. So I think I can say I pretty much seen it. Back in the days, it was very unique, very, very few bands did this thing, and it was quite extreme. Even the heavy metal scene hated us. Basically, everybody hated us. Like, not just us, Tormentor, which is also one thing. However, we became very infamous, in Hungary. But also like a band like Battery. I remember when the second album Return came out, you know, in '85 maybe.
Yeah.
That was a very we've been waiting so much for that record, and it was a very great, fucking great black metal record. That was for me the foundation of real black metal somehow.
Really, this is a great thing to know. Thanks for the tips.
Yeah, the album called Return from Battery, a second record that was so dark and so obscure, you know, and so interesting. And I remember when I read the review in the German Metal Hammer, you know, they had like 2 out of 7. So it's basically like you guys.
No, like yes, they don't like, because of course, because it was something new and something extreme. Yeah. So people have get used to it.
So today, compared to that today, dark and so obscure, you know, and so interesting, you know, and I think Mayhem is not too commercial. I mean, we try to keep our music is very challenging, you know.
Yeah.
And still we can play major festivals in front of thousands of people, sometimes 10,000s of people. So the scene changed in sense. It also shows me or tells me in one way or another that we were right, you know, back in the day.
Yeah, sure.
Even though we were hated back then, we were still keep going on, and we still stood up, you know, and we were kind of fighting for our music.
And you did it.
And I think we were right, and everybody was right. Euronymous, you know, everybody thought back then he had these grandiose visions, you know, and he was more than right, actually. So it's interesting, and that's how I could picture it. But I think it's a good thing too, you know. However, in that sense, it's more accepted, more commercial. But I would say the world changed, you know, and probably the world right now is maybe worse than ever. So this music is maybe more needed, you know. So in a sense, it's good, but it's of course different, you know. Like now it's many bands and
but of course you are the inspiration for every black metal band. I mean, everyone inspires to you. So in the old times you moved to Norway. What means you just moved to Norway just to recording, or you stayed there? I mean, for a few weeks, I don't know. There, in that period, there's something that some memories that you want to share with us.
It was basically like 2 or 3 weeks all together, maybe less than 2 weeks. But I was in contact with the band from like maybe 91 something, you know. So we've been talking quite a lot about. Actually, Euronymous contacted me very soon after. You know, Pellet that committed suicide. So, it's I was really excited, you know, to go there. I didn't know much about Norway, I remember, and the guys were super cool. And first, I even didn't know much about the Norwegian scene. You know, I only knew Battery from Scandinavia and stuff like that. You know. So I didn't know much about the scene, and I was quite surprised when I learned about it, like how it was still very underground but really extreme, you know. So I was really looking forward to see these guys, like how they were in real, you know, and what's going on.
Yeah.
And it was perfect actually, very cool.
Yes, and speaking about, of course, also the old times. The label that the Euronymous founded, that like Silence, really helped the career of Mayhem.
I could say probably, you know. I mean, they released it was a self-release. I think Death Crush was one of their first release, and they did a couple of I think maybe Dark Throne records, and he did, of course, the first Bursum. He did Abruptum. I don't know. He did a couple of bands.
That's great.
I'm not sure, but the only thing I know that he was really interested to release Tormentor. So
that's great.
That was like that was their main topic. One of the main like we were talking about always two things. One was like how
Tormentor was like a big band as a in
uh,
Hungary.
it was kind of known in Hungary, but we were, we recorded our first full, like first we made a demo, which was just like a really underground.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
guys, imagine today, like one night we recorded on a 4-track tape, in this
wow,
cellar, in a homemade
yeah,
studio with homemade delay effects and all this shit. But then the second recording, we got some deal from a state company because it was kind of like the end of the system, the
yeah,
old
sure,
system. So somehow someone reached us, and we could record it in it's pretty okay studio. But that album couldn't be released. So
yeah,
we had a tape, and this tape called Anno Domini of Tormentor went out. We did the tape trading. It
yeah,
ended up at Euronymous, and this is the reason why they invited me, because it became a favorite band, Tormentor of Palette of Dead, and
yeah,
and also Euronymous. So they were so much into it. He was always talking about it in my old letters. Like I just read it the other day or some time ago, but like first thing was okay if I could join Mayhem, but then again, like if we could release Tormentor, because he
yeah,
did
sure.
to be out and he would be very proud to put it out
Yes, it
and
was
stuff.
a great
Yeah,
things what it did. Yes, yes.
yeah, he even wanted me, even if I joined Mayhem, he wanted me to bring back Tormentor, So I was like, sure,
He was in love with it, with Tormentor then.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
great. That's
Definitely.
really
So
great to know.
his label, it means that, and unfortunately it couldn't be released because, of course, what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
But I brought the tape, I brought the master
Okay.
tape to Norway, and it was a DAT, like the old
Yeah,
dot.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And after he was murdered or that,
Yeah.
the tape ended up at I think Hellhammer somehow in Axel, and he gave it to Samot. So from Tormentor, and he released it eventually, at his label.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes, yes.
but
That's great.
yeah, but yeah, I think I've been
Yeah,
to the show. This Helvete was great. It
that's
was really.
amazing. And of course, it is a question that you can decide to answer or not. In the old times of the Mysterious Doom Satanas, you were with Euronymous and Varg. I was working with them. I mean, I was with being in the band with them. I mean, do you see everything?
That time it was before the things went wrong,
Yes, yes,
and I think it was a very peak period of Mayhem, one of the
yeah.
coolest and strangest period of the band.
At the same time, yeah.
Yeah, like it was the two guys I ever met. They came to pick me up at the
The
train
bastard.
station.
Train
Yeah,
station.
it was Varg and Euronymous. I was like, oh, hi guys. Uh, both were cool. Both were cool. They
Yeah,
were, to me, very friendly.
yeah,
I stayed at both the guys' place. I stayed at Euronymous' place and Varg's place in Bergen.
yeah,
And also Varg was talking about he was about to start his own label, and
yeah.
he was very excited about my other band called Plasma Pool, which was an dark electronic band, and he was
Wow.
really into it. So he wanted to release that, and Euronymous wanted to release Tormentor. So I thought
They
everything,
were in love with you. They
yeah,
were that's
everything
great.
looked really great, So
Amazing.
I can't say, of course, I don't like what happened.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, sure.
like that
Yeah.
shit. But in the other hand, I understood late, and yeah, I must underline it was their
Yeah.
more like a personal problem. I never heard
Yeah.
about talking shit about any of us or Mayhem or anything.
Yeah.
They just ended up in this shit, and which was very personal level and a big
Yeah,
issue,
sure.
obviously. Um, of course, I don't like what happened, and I'm really sorry about it. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
We had to
Yes,
move
yes.
on.
Yes, of course, we always have to move on. And of course, I think you saw Lord of Chaos, and
Mhm.
I also saw that your son acted in that movie. What about your opinion about Lord of Chaos? And also, how was it seeing your son acting in Lord of Chaos? You see some similarity with you at that area and your son?
Well, he was doing great, and actually, he looked exactly like me on the old
Really?
pictures. Yeah, actually, he was in the same age almost when I was
That's
there. You know, I was
it was
22.
like a strange coincidence
Yeah, I
almost.
was 22 when I was there, and I think when he recorded this, he was 21, so almost the same age.
Yeah,
And that scene is perfect. However, it's more like a rehearsal, so the recording looked different. But
sure.
this is this is a made up movie. We never
Yeah,
we never contributed the band. We didn't want
yeah,
to, because we said like, or we do it exactly how we think and how we want, or we
yeah.
don't wanna be part. We don't wanna take
Of this, yeah,
this.
sure. Of course, you're right.
And even though the director was a cool dude, Jonas Åkerlund, he used to play in Battery, one of my
Yeah,
favorite band, and stuff. So, but I know that he was also controlled. It's a Hollywood production.
yeah. Of course, they
So,
always
so
try to
much.
to
I mean,
change
the
something.
movie was really delayed for years. I
Oh,
mean, it's not gonna come out eventually, and I think how much they edited it and all this shit. But you should know that no conversations, we never sounded like that. It never happened like that.
yeah,
Even scene with my son was was total different. Like when I was in the studio, actually it looked much cooler. So after Jonas told me, "Fuck, I wish you would tell me this earlier." But I was on tour when
yeah,
we were on tour. But anyway, the scene was like I was in total pitch black with candles around me. That was
yeah,
what really happened. And
yeah,
in the movie, it looks like a rehearsal, not the studio
yeah,
recording. But anyway, one is also important. Like I never pushed my son into this movie. What happened? Like I was on tour and I came home and somebody called from the family. Hey, guess what? Your son's gonna play me. I was,
why?
huh? What the fuck is going on, guys? And it turned out like while we were touring, it turned out like the production. This movie was made in Hungary.
Yes,
Big part.
in Hungary.
Yeah, in Hungary, because in Hungary, they make a lot of foreign productions. It's a big
Yeah,
film.
yeah, yes. I know. Also, they're shooting also series TV in Hungary because
Yeah,
for the
a lot of
landscapes. Yeah,
they did the Dune. They did like I don't know. Um,
there is another one called The Last
even
Kingdom. They are
yeah,
shooting. Yeah,
Star Star Wars were made here, like some parts. I don't know. It's a lot of big movies,
yeah,
like ever for some movie film productions back in the days for a little bit. But anyway, what I was gonna say, like my son, we sent them to a drama
oh,
class, very
yeah.
early age.
So
He
he's an
was
actor.
he's an actor. Even he was a teaching. He was teaching. He's
Oh,
teaching. Teaches acting and stuff. He's more like a director, but
yes,
he learned
sure.
of acting. So when they were here in Hungary, they found his name in this database, and
Yeah,
they were, and I remember this Jonas, they contacted me to please Attila, let him do it. We really want him to do it, and
that's
that was when they already asked him. So what could I say? Actually, first I was thinking like I was not sure if it's a good idea, but that's my second thought was, of course, he should play me. I mean, this is like it is. I'm not gonna turn that down now,
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, he did great actually. So that part, at least,
yeah.
is the move is pretty cool. I think.
Yes, yes. And changing a little bit topic, coming back to, I
Yeah.
mean, we can say that, I don't, contemporary time, contemporary area. But I wanted to ask you for the newbie fans, because, there are always the teenagers that start listening to black metal or Mayhem songs. There is a particular album or song of Mayhem that you love most and you want to advise to this, you can say, newbie fan?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think all the records are very unique of Mayhem,
Hmm.
very interesting, especially from the Mysterious and then on.
Yeah.
when the band broke some boundaries. Every album has a great trademark, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I even like, you know, Chimera and the Grand Declaration
Chimera,
of
yeah.
War was interesting records, definitely. Wallflyers, but I think to me the more the closest to my heart maybe is Ordo at Chaos and Esoteric Warfare, which were like very,
Esoteric Warfare, yeah.
yeah, very challenging. I like when our music. I mean, Diamond is a fucking great album, and I'm very happy. But you know, my taste is more when I think Mayhem and black metal should be always very challenging. You always have to.
Yeah.
It should not be easy to take, you know. But I understood that. I mean, we couldn't go further, and it was very
Yeah.
important and necessary to do Diamond, and I really enjoy. It's so good to play those songs live.
Yes.
Stuff compared to our other stuff, which is very complicated, you know, and to play
Yeah.
live. Sometimes I can see people's face like, "What is this?" You know, like. But to me, still, you know, like Esoteric Warfare has
Yeah,
great
Esoteric-
themes, you know,
yeah.
and it's something like not the usual black metal. It's another perspective, and the same with Ordo
Yeah.
at Chaos. So maybe I love those most, but
Yeah.
um, but then again, I think every album is very unique itself.
unique,
It would be almost a
yeah.
different band if you would not say it's Mayhem. It would sound almost like okay,
Yes, sure.
you know what I mean. They're so different. And also it's always a long time between the records or among the records. So it's like always a bit. It represents something else. They always like a new era. Yeah, I don't know. And of course, listen the last record. It's great.
Yeah, sure.
very-
I already listened. Yes, and
Yeah.
you also,
It's
of,
like
of
Ellie,
course,
so at least the vocal
Yeah.
tried to make it very complex, you know, and stuff.
yeah. But speaking about that, you have really very particular vocal skill, and almost that is impossible to find in other singers. Did you make some particular studies, or just a gift you have?
I think I have a gift, and I was doing like a
Yeah.
lot of extreme, like not extreme sport, but I was playing water polo when I was kid for 10 years, like really racing and stuff, you know, and then I think that made very strong my lungs, and then. And then later, especially like up when I was like early 20s, even before the Mysteries, I already attended some vocal teachers because I never told them that what I was doing, but I was interested, especially in the classical techniques of the opera
Yes.
techniques, because I was always amazed, like, fuck, back in the days, those guys didn't have a microphone, you know, they didn't have
Yeah.
a amplification, they had to shout and use their voices like full on, and only
Yeah.
use the acoustics of the room, you know, like it's a different technique. That's why they sing so strange, you know, like shouting, you know, in the operas.
Yeah.
Because today you don't need to do that because you have a microphone. But I was
Yes.
very interested, and I learned a lot about breathing techniques. So that's
Breathing technique. Yeah.
yeah, that's what is important, and that's what I studied myself mostly. But I attended vocal teachers, not all the time, but time to time. So I had like 2, 3 different, mostly classical vocal teachers. Like I like this
Yeah.
opera style. Yeah, the breathing is the key, I guess. The breathing is the biggest, because then you use your body like an instrument. You know, it turns into
Yes, sure.
thing you control, like you play in a cello, you know, or a guitar. You have a picking and your hand.
Uh-huh.
It's similar with the vocals. You use your muscles down around
Yeah.
your belly, you know, and then you use there where you really have to work. And when it comes to the throat, it has to be released. But it's another extra thing with the extreme vocals, that it's released, but in the same time it's not released because you have to make this distorted, strong voice, you know.
It's like you're using your own voice and your body like an instrument, basically.
Absolutely, and you have to control it in many ways, you know, and that's just pure technical thing.
Yes.
But I must admit also, I'd like to add that that's still secondary, because the most important is your spirit. If you are
Yeah.
right, if you really have something to say and you really know,
Yeah,
really give
agree.
yourself, you know, it will come through anyway.
always. Speaking about that, do you want to give any advice to the newbie singer of black metal?
This is my advice, but I said, like, your mindset and your spirit is the most important, you know, and
Yeah.
I think everybody should find their unique own way. it's no point to copy each other like that, you know. I mean, that's something I did with the Mysterious too, like, which is one of the
Yeah.
most important record of all time now, you know, in black metal.
Yes. Yeah, I
And
know
you know,
the genre. Yeah, sure.
screaming with Tormentor had the screaming techniques, and then I heard Dad was doing similar on the next level, you know, and I was thinking like what he would like me to do, you know, and for sure
Yeah,
to copy
this
him.
is a beautiful
So I
thought.
wanted to do something else, you know, and I think it's important that you. And then I came with this deeper, more a little bit more melodic voice.
Yeah, yes.
It's something. What I think is important that you, if you listen my recordings, I always try to do different stuff, you know.
Yes, yes, of course, with your different projects that we will speak in
Important
a few. Yeah,
because you find your unique self, you know, and you find yourself then, you know. And I'm
and you
saying
have it.
I'm also inspired by other musicians and vocalists,
And
of course.
yes, this is then a follow-up questions, in fact, which are your singing inspiration? I mean, if there is a particular singer that influenced you.
Yeah, like there was, like I mentioned, Quarton in black metal.
Wharton, yeah,
Really influenced me back in the days because he was the first one who came up with this typical black metal screaming voice.
yeah,
But also, you know, the vocalist of a band called Skinny Puppy, which is a total different
people,
stuff.
yeah,
This is like electronic music, really inspired me because his vocals, you know, especially in the 80s, were so unique and exceptional, you know, and even today, that guy is an absolute genius, I think. However, he's not a
yeah,
metal vocalist. Another vocalist I liked was David Tibet from Old Karen 93. Like
yeah, yeah.
he had this very scary experimental voice, and also female vocalists like Diamanda Gallas, who is like,
I am on the gallant.
yeah, Diamanda is like there is her first her first record called Litanies of Satan. I can recommend everyone. It's crazy what she's doing with her voice.
Yeah,
Totally.
that's great. Yes, I will sign
So
those names. I'm interested in female women that singing.
you should check her. You know, she
Yeah,
something really amazing stuff, like very disturbing voices. You know, and like a
that's
witch almost, or like someone is possessed. And
well,
so yeah, these are. But
it
also,
was like
you know,
almost like scary and interesting at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And of
Yeah,
course,
that's
I
great.
had like a lot of, you know, I always get inspired by vocalists. You know, I love, you know,
Yeah,
one of my favorite vocalists today, because today's bands too, like Chris from Ulver, or
Ulver. Yeah,
it's amazing, you know, Garm. Uh,
yeah,
Even like Andy from Combi Christ, you know, and his other projects is pretty fucking great. Or
yeah.
I don't know, you know, there's still. Um, or like, you know, heavy metal like
Every
Rob
man.
Bird. I used to love, you know, his voice and his kind of sick approach, you know. But
Yeah,
of course, these are all influencing me.
yeah, sure. And
It's amazing, like how can he pull this out physically, you know, in an Iron Maiden show? Like he's just
Iron
running,
Man.
jumping.
Yeah, yeah. He's always running and doing a lot of stuff at his age. Yeah,
You know, it's amazing. So I have so much guys to learn from, you know. Um,
yes.
and I think it's never ending, you know. I always learn. I always try to do my
This is
small steps. I think you have to always evolve and develop yourself, even if you want to keep at certain level. That means you
yeah.
constantly
Just
have
always starting. Yes,
somehow
and
study or develop your
yeah.
abilities, you know.
And this is also an humble thing to say, such as a singer as you. So that's a
Oh,
great thing to say.
yeah.
And now I want to know about your other musical project, because I saw there are many musical projects. So if you
Oh, yeah.
want to just speak about the ones, I mean, you care mostly and maybe you most stay stuff with them.
Yeah, I have so much stuff going on. You are right.
Yeah,
Which is
uh,
always I always try to reduce them, and then it's always coming back, you know. Like now in this COVID time,
yeah,
I
sure.
had to just let happen again, and I just did, you know, one of my latest stuff I did. It was like we call it extreme philharmonics with my
I still
friend
feel for yeah.
Bernard Gender from Austria, and we made this like a philharmonic music, but really like based on extreme metal, but
That's
not
nice.
like bands like, you know, who are like typically have some song and they rent an orchestra to follow them. Like, I don't know, I don't want to name these bands, you know who I mean, but it's like, no, it's like more, it's totally contemporary, very extreme, and only symphonic, you know, crazy shit. So that's coming up now, called Ozing Earth. You can find online Bernard Gender Ozing Earth. We have a live show already online.
Oh wow!
But also, I'm starting a new band.
A new band?
Yeah, like a new project. We always have new projects. Like it's called Electron, which it's gonna be like it's like Darktron but Electron. You know, it's
I like Darktron but Electron. Yeah.
It's a little bit like old school industrial metal, but but of course it's gonna be new stuff. Actually, it's one guy from Aborim, Italian band, you know.
Yes, and we are going through that. Since that you know the question. Now I want to speak about, of course, since I'm Italian, but Aborim.
Yeah. That's gonna be one band. But also I have experimental bands like related to Italy, Claudio Simonetti, you know, from Goblin.
From Goblin, of course.
And we were thinking about to make these live scores, which were supposed to happen next year, but this COVID fucked up everything.
Especially when Europe are seeing the worst.
Live music for these old cinemas like Nosferatu and stuff, you know.
Wow,
like
that's amazing, because
the silent movies. Like
that's amazing. Really.
We had like a piano player in the side, and we wanted to do the same. Like we are there, and you watch the movie, and we are playing by.
That's a really an amazing and interesting project, especially because like old movies and with goblins that they are fucking great goblin.
Yes.
And what about I was saying before with Aborim, and what do you think about the Italian black metal scene?
I don't know so much about it, you know, but Aborim was really important for me. It was a great time in my life. But of course, I know like old bands like Bulldozer, you know, which is not black metal, but I like his stuff, you know. He's fucking great. It's a great band, you know, and I don't follow that much the scene, you know, but Aborim was a big part of my heart, you know. Back
you also have been in Sicily, if I'm not wrong, in Cefalù.
Sorry?
If I'm not wrong, you have been in Sicily as well.
I was there, yeah. I've been many times. Even when I was kid, Italy was one of my favorite country, you know, or I traveled there when I was younger. I was in Cefalù, I was in Sicily, I was in the Stromboli, I was in the catacombs in Palermo. It was amazing.
Where my town,
Cool, awesome.
Palermo, even Palermo,
So that catacomb is amazing with the corpses and like
it's really always people from bands from here always thought that it's a beautiful set for the video clips.
It is. When I was like 18 or something, I traveled there and went down there, and I was totally into it. You know, I love. I seen stuff like that.
Yeah. So speaking about also, of course, new bands, there is some band in the underground scene, and I'm speaking just like worldwide, that you think that they deserve more success they actually have.
There are a lot of new bands, you know. It's a bit hard to recall me. Let me see, because my friend, you know, I just saw another band. What was the name? Let me think about it. It was actually my friend Daniele Valeriani, from who's a great artist, you know. He's doing this great artwork. He introduced me that. It was an American band. I think it's Aklis. I think Aklis. I just heard about them. I didn't know them before. It's really, really cool. It's like this kind of vampire style, but it's pretty cool, you know.
Sure.
So it's like I don't know. It's so many good new bands. I don't follow the scene, or sometimes I listen and I forget the name, and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
of
It's
course.
hard to follow. And but he showed me this band, Daniel, and that was really really cool. It's
That's
interesting.
great.
So I think I just like kids how they make it, and it's
Yeah,
interesting. They put it on a next level, and it had like this strong influence with the classical music, but in a really cool way. So
that's
I think that
great.
was Uckless,
And
yeah, that
and
was one thing I could pick up, but
yeah,
yeah.
sure, sure. As you can, of course, know, nowadays black metal has been, like, we can say, contaminated or evolved, depends on which we want to see it. What do you think about all this evolution of different types of black metal that are right now? Do you think there is a good things, like, for example, like there is some black metal with the Viking influence, or the depressive suicidal black metal? What do you think about that?
Well, I
Since
think that black metal represents freedom in art, but
yeah,
it should always deal with the darker aspect of nature,
yeah,
whatever it is. So in within that frame, I think everything is could be interesting. Then it depends
of
like
course.
how well it's presented, and I think black metal is very spiritual. So you
Yeah, I agree.
you have to really be there in your mind and spirit, and you mean
Yes,
what you
yeah, I agree
do,
completely with
that
you.
will come through your music. I mean, Viking is cool because it's about the war theme. So if it's a well played, and I like this
Yes, if
folk.
they are, of course, well played, because
it,
sometimes
it,
it's more show that
it doesn't
spiritual.
mean well played like it has to be too technical. I think
No,
it's
no,
more like it has to come, the spiritual
com-
dimension
yes,
comes through,
yes,
that it has to
I
manifest through
complete,
your music,
completely,
this dark
completely,
and evil energy.
I
If it
completely.
can manifest through your music, that's the most important. It can be very simple music, like technically, very
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree
feel,
completely with you.
and sometimes it's very complex and very strong, or
It
sometimes
depends.
it's very complex and shit, or so
Yes, of course, it depends.
it
And
depends.
I also know that you have Saturnus production. What about that? What could you tell about the Saturnus production?
That's my old label. I mean, I started this label like actually in 2000, maybe 6 or something,
Yeah,
but I only use it for just to release my stuff. And I never
that's
really had the time, so I just had there like a Mayhem record, and
yeah,
I had there like Tormentor records, and
yeah.
stuff.
I checked
So
something. Yeah,
now I in this COVID age I restarted it, and I
that's great.
wanna put it's basic. I don't sign other bands, or maybe in the future, but not now. For now, I just would like to release all the projects what I have, and this side stuff and the bands and my solo stuff,
Yeah.
voices and stuff like that. So it's basically just to release my stuff, which is more underground. It's
Yes.
not
Yes.
so not so well. It's more underground, more my personal experiments with different
That's
bands.
great.
And
Yeah,
that's
this
why
is important because
also
yeah,
I released, a CBD brand, the
I
medical.
saw it. I saw it. I saw it.
So
It's
that
helpful.
yeah, that's really good. I really love CBD. I think it's I can recommend to everyone, and I know
Yeah.
it's getting very
I'm a
popular.
naturopath, so yeah, I know something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, because it's marijuana, but only the good, you don't get high, but
Yeah.
marijuana has like a lot of good things, like to release your stress, to
Yeah, for anxiety, yes, sure.
anxiety, it's very good for your immune system. And I hate these medical companies, I hate
Yeah,
this.
I agree. I agree. Yes, because they always trying to get money.
Yeah, that's just like bullshit. So I think it's very cool
Yeah.
stuff like medical marijuana and stuff which is like out of this commercial pharmacy business,
Yeah, I agree.
and my stuff is 100% natural. We got like big marijuana fields here, like this only medical, of course.
Yeah.
Uh, And also, I used to smoke. Now I don't smoke actually, but I used to smoke the real marijuana too. So it was something like part of my habit. It's a very different thing, It's
Yes,
too
always
plant
herbs. Yes,
different,
and
It's
some
very.
plants I know that they have a
I
positive effect on your body. Yes, sure.
I think it's very good for you because it doesn't have the psycho effect, but it has
Yeah,
all the good things.
and,
It's good to avoid cancer and all this shit. And I'm not
and
like,
yeah,
and my philosophy is it's better to die healthy. Okay, we have to die, but better to die healthy than sick. So
yes, of course.
I can recommend that.
And also, I think it's a good thing for example, for people that when I have anxiety or panic attack, they go straight to the psychiatrist and then take all that anxiolytics, antidepressive. These things destroy your body and your mind. Yes, I
Exactly.
know. I
Yeah.
know.
That can fuck you up, really. I
Yes,
see.
I agree. I agree. I
The
agree
guy we
completely.
mentioned, the guy, like took. I remember back in the days, one of us this antidepressants,
Yeah.
uh, and that fucked up the whole band. I think it
Yeah.
fucked up the mind of the person.
Yeah. And speaking
Um,
about you today,
how
who
boring.
is
Yeah.
who is Attila today, and how much Attila changed from the old times?
Um, well, I don't know. It's a good question. I think I'm still the same. I feel like, music somehow is conservating. Like
Yeah.
I still have the same mindset. Like when I approach the music, when I work on music, I still have the same mindset when I had like 20, 30 years ago. That
Yeah.
didn't
Yes.
change. But the rest, I don't know. I'm just an artist. I just love music more than ever. And I just hope that this fucking COVID misery gonna be over soon.
Yeah,
And
me
we
too as well.
can,
And what about the future project of you, Attila and Mayhem?
we were just out of the Diamond album was just out, and
Yes, yeah, of course.
to play the promotion tour
Yeah,
for that. And just had only one European tour when the whole thing was shut down. So it's really, really disappointing because we had at least
yeah,
like 100 shows this year, which were like postponed. So
yeah,
we have to finish the tour, and
mhm,
we're gonna work, of course, on new material. Um,
sure.
Maybe we will release something because now everything is fucked up. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but we don't wanna forget about the Diamond record. We wanna play that properly.
Diamond record. Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
of course. And just because we are at the end, just a message to your fan and Mayhem fan and Mayhem fans and our followers.
Oh yeah, hello Bloods, and my message is that you guys keep it up, keep it real in these fucked up times. Never give up, and never believe everything what they tell you.
Always.
I'm not saying it's a total conspiracy, but it's a really fucked up, evil fucking force behind what's going on in the
Yeah,
world today. It's easy to see. It's all manipulation or like big part of it. So you just have to stick to the music, because music is gonna be always true.
yeah,
And I would like to thank you for your support, everybody,
oh,
and
yeah,
to be with us. And we are with you, and we're gonna fucking deliver you evil and darkness and dark
yeah.
music, and you guys giving us back your beautifully dark vibe. And yeah, we're gonna keep moving on and keep destroying
Yeah, so
the
thank you.
lies and the fake gods and this fake fucking world what
Yeah,
is us,
so of course, don't say this to me. So thank you so much, Attila, for being with us and
Thank
for
you.
this huge honor. And I hope to see you in some live, really with pleasure. Thank you so much, Attila. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ada. Thank you very much.
You can't refuse what the old man whispered to the preacher during the sermon. He's a saint to the fools of the tricks that he is turning. He'll speak, but you gotta believe.